What makes the good life the good life? This podcast is on a mission to find out. So join us as we explore the Heartland's best and most honest voices. Venture to all four corners of York County, because when it comes to quality of life, it's all about keeping it local. Brought to you by the York County Development Corporation, this is 17 County.
Thank you for joining us today. Be sure to like, subscribe, and review our podcast. Doing this helps grow our podcast, and so we appreciate the help from our listeners. We need all the help we can get to kind of bust through those Google and Spotify algorithms to help grow our podcast, so we appreciate the help. We'd also like to take the time to thank our members. Without these great members, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here at YCDC, so I'd like to thank Cornerstone Bank, Central Valley Ag, Mead Lumber Company, York General Healthcare Services, Community Title, Chances Are Restaurant, and Heritage Realtors. Just a few, 7 of our 190 plus members, and so we appreciate the support from all of our members. And so members can be found at our membership directory at yorkdevco.com. That's yorkdevco.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the social medias. And if you want to learn more about how to become a member, you can also find information there. So let's get to the interview. Our guest today is York County through and through. She grew up on a family farm just west of Benedict and north of Bradshaw. Out in rural York County, she didn't really quite identify with a hometown, if you will, but she went to school in Bradshaw. She spent her summers and Sundays up in Benedict, and then joined the family for their shopping there here in York. After farming and raising a family for 16 years, she decided that she needed a real challenge by opening up her own business. That's a joke. Raising a family is probably a lot harder than anyone can imagine. So in 1997, she bought Red's Ribbons and Trophies in McCool Junction and decided to move that up to York, where we know it now as today as Crossroads Awards. So welcome to the show, Gina.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I am kind of a hometown orphan, I think.
no quite home, but yeah, call quite a few areas home, I'm sure. I'm doing a kind of fun segment here to kind of liven the energy up and getting everybody going. Last few kind of podcasts I did, where would you go back in time, or I've asked some kind of weird questions, and this one we're going to do like a top and a bottom 3. So I'm going to call it a 3-on-3. So tell me your top 3 and bottom 3 for a certain topic. And our topic today is genres of music. So go ahead and give me your bottom 3. We'll start with that one first.
Bottom 3 first. It's kind of hard to know what genre really is. I would say probably like bottom 3. Is opera a genre?
Yeah, I would definitely call that a genre.
Maybe like Baroque music. That was always kind of weird. Maybe waltz. Is that?
Hey, I'm going to count anything. There's really no wrong answers here as far as I'm concerned. So my bottom would be, I'm probably going to upset a few people with this. Polka is at the top of my list of bottom. I've just never been a real fan of that, and I know quite a few people around here are. So I'm probably didn't get too many fans with that with that answer. Classical music, I mean, I'm not opposed to like Mozart and things like that. It's just not really in my wheelhouse. And then as far as a bottom one, I'm not too big. I like some like that techno stuff, but there's some stuff that's just way too weird for me even. And so there's some stuff that gets too out there. So I think that's kind of my bottom. What's my top 3 though? I would have to do country, and then I would have to say probably 80s rock music, and then really any type of music that came out between the 90s and probably 2012. Since after I got out of college, I really quit paying attention to music, and so I really don't really like to box myself, but I really do like all types of music. I do like dubstep, I do like rock metal, or whatever you want to call it, and things like that, but those are my kind of top 3. So what would be your top 3?
Well, just along those lines, just 2 weeks ago, we went to 2 weekends in a row. We went to polka.
Oh my goodness!
We don't dance, but we went down to Stone Creek. Had polka, and she made polka fun. She could make any. I don't even know her name, so I can't really give her a shout out. But she turned any song into polka. They even did Thunderstruck.
She polka-fied everything.
Yeah.
That's kind of neat.
So that was fun. And then we went down to Milligan one weekend too, and they always have fun down there. So polka can really be fun, even if you don't necessarily like it, but I understand. I'd have to agree with the country. We like country, and as a matter of fact, today is Willie Nelson's birthday, and
I did not
my
know
favorite.
That. Oh,
Yep.
right on.
So, yeah, the little bit older country.
Fun fact.
The newer country, not so much, but Southern rock. I like Southern rock, and probably any of the rock and roll that come out of the 60s and 70s. 70s was my era, so there's a lot of good music.
Always
in the
good time
70s.
with music and good memories and things like that when thinking about music. So, speaking of memories, we'll talk a little bit about your upbringing. So tell me a little bit about your family and kind of what your upbringing was like out on the farm.
Okay, well, as you mentioned, we lived out. What I felt like growing up was way out in the country, in the middle of nowhere. We come from a pretty large family, but my first 3 siblings were married by the time I was 6 years old. So I had nieces and nephews when I was pretty young. Yeah, we lived out on the farm, and that was most our job in the summer. We didn't really get to go into town to do, I did play softball once I got into junior high, but you just didn't do things when you were real young in the summer.
It's not like today where when you were when you're 7 years old, you're getting chucked around every soccer practice.
Yeah, before that even. And didn't do preschool or anything, so didn't really even know anybody till I was 5 years old and went to school. I went to school at Bradshaw.
What were some of kind of life like? You said you had siblings, that you were the youngest of 6 or 5. You were number 5 of 6.
5 of 6, yeah.
And so, what was it like having those older siblings? Kind of being around, or what was that kind of like?
They all. Well, my brother Fred, of course, farmed with Dad, so they lived right there on the farm. My other 2 sisters moved away. Just moved away in Nebraska here. So, yeah, a lot of weekends were either spent going to see them or them coming to see us, and again. My nieces and nephews are more like probably age of most people's cousins,
like
so
that.
Yeah, we had, real close nieces and nephews that way. And so that was fun. We went camping a lot, especially with my one sister and her family. We'd meet them and go camping, and whenever it rained, we could go camping. That was the only time.
When I saw that in your questionnaire, I got to thinking. I was like, that's an odd time to go go camping, is in during the rain. And then it made sense. That's the only free time you have. You can't be out in the field when it's when
one
it's
thing
raining.
I remember about camping, it was always wet and rainy, but that's when we could get away.
Take advantage of those opportunities when you can. So yeah, that's awesome. So what were some of the chores or things like that you remember about growing out, out on the farm? What kind of did you have animals, or was it just?
No, by the time I came along, which my parents were almost 40 when I was born, so they'd been farming about 20 years. I guess we had a few cattle, but for the most part, it was crop farming. So we chopped a lot of sunflowers and rogued a lot of fields, and that's when moved a lot of pipe. Oh my gosh, moved a lot of pipe. That was before pivots, so
it's kind of nice to have those pivots these days.
It is, yeah, yep, that's for sure.
And so you mentioned you went to school in Bradshaw. So tell me a little bit about what was school kind of like.
Okay, well, I did a little bit of sports, volleyball mostly, mostly speech and drama, which was fun back then, not near as competitive. I follow York's speech and drama team, and they just have done such a great job. We didn't get to do that many things, and it wasn't quite as big as what it is now, but that was what I did, mostly was speech and drama. I was in band, and that was really about it.
What'd you play in band?
Trumpet.
You were a trumpeter. What did you do in volleyball then? Were you like a certain position, like center, back,
setter, short.
Setter?
I'm short.
Yep. Can't quite get up over that net sometimes, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Are you still a fan of volleyball then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do love to watch.
Do you get
volleyball.
down to very many volleyball games?
Nope, just been to a
Just
couple.
watch it. Do you watch it probably all and listen probably every time they're on the shop? Yeah, you probably listen to them probably
Girls
quite a bit.
basketball was just starting when I was in high school here, so I didn't.
That's crazy to
really
think
ever-
about.
I
That,
know,
yeah, that we're not too far removed from girls athletics, just kind of being a new new thing. And then so talk about starting a family. How did that all come about? After what did you do after you graduated, and then until that time period when you met Todd. And so
Well,
talk about
Todd and
that.
I met in high school. Well, actually junior high. We my grandmother lived in Benedict. My parents were Benedict. They both graduated from Benedict High School, so all of our family was pretty much Benedict. So we went to church at the Lutheran Church in Benedict, and Todd went to the Methodist Church in Benedict. And our Sunday schools combined when we were in junior high. So we met that way and started dating and got married out of high school. So didn't really do much after high school but that. So
started right into. Did you
and
start a family just right after that?
Yeah,
shortly after.
pretty much, yeah. And he and I, we farmed, raised hogs for quite a while, probably about 13, 14 years. Raised hogs, but now we just do grain farming and then bought the store, did that too. So
talk to me about your children. So I know you have 3, right? So talk to me a little bit about
Justin, our oldest, he has Shuck Concrete. He and his family live east of Benedict, and they have 2 kids, and they go to Cross County to school. His wife cuts hair up in Strongsburg. And then our daughter Jill, she lives in Lincoln, and she's married to Nick, and they have 2 children, and she's a realtor in Lincoln. And then Jordan farms with us right now, lives out on the farm that I grew up on. So he farms with us, and maybe you've seen him around, he's singing a little bit. So,
I've started to notice that he's doing a little bit more of that, over the last. When did he start actually kind of?
Well, he kind of started
joking
in
around
college,
with that.
Yeah, college. He was doing it. He went to Northwest Missouri State, and he sang down there at a bar, and come back up here, and he's had quite a few opportunities.
It's been great, seeing him have all those different things. I know he's going to be at the county fair. I believe he's going to be opening for that, so that's going to be exciting. Everybody go check out that.
Yeah, Jordan Shuck.
Yeah, we'll be a couple weeks, or we'll probably be a couple months away by the time this comes out. So we'll have to, everyone go check that out. So what is it like, raising a family, on a farm? What's that like? I know you grew up on one, but what was it like, on the other side of that, raising the family and all, the differences?
The kids were busier than I got to be, which was okay. We didn't live that far from Benedict, so they played ball, but we still had a lot of work to do on the farm, and with kids on the farm, you always have some opportunity for them to keep busy, and I think they learn a really good work ethic on the farm. And we had the hogs, we've had sheep, I guess, as well. Of course, then we were involved in 4-H, and the kids didn't ever really get involved in FFA because the schools didn't have it at that time, but the 4-H was a real big important thing to them, and it's just always just good to be out where you have a lot of room and can
in your
do a
mind
lot of things.
In your mind, what kind of is some of the things that kind of helps you growing up on a farm versus not having that opportunity? So what are the things that kind of some of the natural kind of benefits of growing up on a farm?
Well, you do have the animals, and you have access to different kinds of animals. And the work ethic is really the main thing, and I think kids definitely can learn a work ethic in town too, but you just learn how to work together with your family. And
it's probably a lot easier, waking up, or I don't know, but when you're learning how to work at age like 9 or 10, and it's your dad that's coming in and waking you up at 5 in the morning and telling you, I bet it's a lot easier to learn that lesson at that point than when you're probably 15 and you're getting a call from your boss, hey, where are you? You need to get to work. Those are 2 very different conversations, but they're it's still the boss talking to the employee, but it's father son over here versus that over there. So I think getting that opportunity to grow up on a farm and get exposed to that accountability, where if whatever doesn't get fed, they don't eat, and then that leads to this and leads to that, and that there's what am I trying to say, that there's outcomes from your actions and things like that. And so you learn that a lot quicker, I feel like, on a farm. Not saying you don't learn it, I grew up in town and I learned all those things, but I feel like it just comes at you a lot faster and a lot bigger maybe on a farm. So is that kind of accurate?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, when your boss can ground you, that makes a difference too. Your boss feeds you too, so
take away your car. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and another thing about the farm is I think you learn how to drive at a young age. You learn how to operate things, a lot of common sense.
You just get exposed to all those things at a much when you're such a sponge at such a young age, and get exposed to all those things between ages 5 and 12, as opposed to I mean, some kids in the city don't get exposed to those exact same things until they're 12, and it's much harder for them to absorb those types of things. And so not that they can't, or that it should be a barrier for them or anything like that, but it's just what it is. It's easier to learn when you're younger. And so that's kind of neat. I've always been sort of envious of my farm friends. I did 4-H and things like that. I always kind of wish I had the opportunity to do the calf and everything like that, bottle feeding a calf, and showing beef and everything like that. So that would have been kind of neat.
Yeah, it's a good experience.
For sure. So what was the connection to buying a business? How did you get in touch with Red's Ribbons? Were you working there, or
No.
What was the connection?
Well, I was working in retail at the time, and my friend Cindy and I we were on the ball committee in Benedict when the kids were playing ball, and needed to order ribbons and trophies for our tournament. So we went down to McCool to actually order them. We had a shop down there, and just thought, this would be kind of fun to do. And probably was a couple years later, it came up for sale, so we went ahead and bought it, and it is fun. A lot of
What were some of those first learning curves? I'm sure you had like you said, you had no experience, so I'm sure there was a lot of learning curves. So talk to me about that.
Red had a lady that had been working for him, and she stayed working for me, which was great. Otherwise, I don't know where I'd be if she hadn't stayed on. But just learning how to order and how to manage inventory and manage customers, and it's a very seasonal. Of the 4 seasons is split up into several little seasons. And so the time goes by real quickly, and it just kind of jumps from one thing to another. And technology is a big part of it, which I didn't really realize that would be so much. But, everything's computerized, which is good. And learning graphic design a little bit, and just how to manage time and inventory. And there's been a lot of things I didn't even dream would be a part of it, but
a lot of problems that you didn't even know were going to be problems and things like that. Yeah, things that just come up. So you mentioned some seasons. How do your seasons kind of break down? I mean, we all have our fall, winter, spring. So what comes within your
I always say my year rolls around with the Boy Scouts. Kind of start first in January, February. They kind of start with their Pinewood Derbies and things like that. The schools are still not doing a whole lot during January and February yet, but then speech and drama is going on, and then after that, the schools start to get busy with the track, and then the end of the year.
So right about now in April, you're probably knee deep in track awards and everything.
And the college, they do a lot of business with me, and they start in with their year-end awards and honoring people and have their graduation awards. And at the same time, the school's doing their year-end awards, which is a lot of like small engraving and small jobs. Then we kind of move in a little bit of a break before summer starts, and then you've got the ball tournaments and car shows, which all consist of like bigger orders, so they seem to go a lot easier and a lot better. The fairs are coming along, and I used to produce a lot of the fair ribbons, but because of the age of my equipment and not being able to get a lot of parts and stuff, I've kind of...
I remember your ribbon print.
Yep, I don't even have that machine anymore. I've kind of just gone to ordering fair ribbons, but I do the medals and the trophies for the fairs. So that the summer business is, like I say, bigger orders that seem just to go so much smoother than the school year end orders. It just gets a little bit hard that time of year. So then you have, baseball, and then the fairs, and then school starts again. And the schools in the fall, I don't have a whole lot, with them. It really starts to slow down at that point. And then we get to late fall and early winter when everybody's kind of doing their year end, maybe corporate awards where they're honoring people for years of service and things like that. So I don't do a lot of Christmas type of business because that, more gifts. I'm getting a little bit more into the gift area, but I've been a little bit hesitant to do that just because I kind of like that time for a break. But there are some items I'm doing now that kind of will give me more opportunity to do personalized gifts if I choose to.
So for the unfamiliar listener, what would you say Crossroads Awards provides as far as services?
Okay, well, originally when I bought it, it was mainly just awards or trophies and ribbons and medals, I would say. That has changed. I hardly really sell a trophy anymore. It's more awards, which the award lines have changed a lot. I always think there's something that people would like sitting around on their shelves.
Less of those wood-based plastic screw together things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and more resin awards that maybe look like decoration rather than the trophies. So that's changed a lot. And then, so engraving, I do a lot of engraving, personalization. Something that's come along in the last few years is digital design, to where I can use graphics a lot more, graphics and color. So your general plaque, could be engraved, but it could also be something with a graphic or a picture, photo, things like that on it. So then that part of the business, that's where I could do more gift items. I have started doing beverageware, mugs with pictures on them or graphics, mugs and tumblers and things like that I can print on. There's just tons of things. Signage, I can do signage with pictures.
So if I have a company here in town and I bring in my company logo, would you be able to put together a few like mugs and tumblers and things like that?
Koozies,
graduations and things like that.
Yeah. I can personalize things for graduations, weddings, anything you see if you go to websites like personalization.com. There's different websites like that. I can do most of those things.
Do all that here
in-house. Yeah. So I haven't advertised that a whole lot, just because it's kind of a new thing to me, but it is something I would definitely like to do more of. Yeah.
Definitely. What was it you mentioned? Kind of a little bit about the learning curves. What are kind of the biggest differences you have between your first years and today? What would you say, are the, kind of the biggest differences?
Well, I've upgraded all the equipment. So computer-wise and everything is way different. Back when I first started, the computer, everything was just really old fashioned. So just learning to the different programs, graphic programs and things like that I've had to do, which is great because it's really helpful and can do so much more with it.
I'm sure it's frustrating over the years, your vendors changing and things like that, like or having to find new vendors because old vendors go out of business. Does that happen quite a bit?
Not really too bad.
Or are they pretty good about passing you on to someone else, if they're going out?
The only thing, I think my ribbon supply people have changed, but even then they've consolidated, so you didn't have to necessarily look for a new one. They just consolidated into one. But no, most of my vendors I've been with for the whole 22 years that I've been doing it. Good great relationship with them. I can't say enough about the vendors I've worked with. They've always been really good, very helpful, close by. I can get most of my supplies in the next day, so I don't have to keep a large inventory. I can just order and get things in right away, and always in stock and things like that. So.
And then is it just you at the shop, or is it been?
Yeah, it's pretty much me. That's what's nice about being able to involve family. The kids have all worked there. I've employ high school kids a lot of times. Right now, I do have our nephew working with me, just out of high school, so he's working with me now, and it's nice having young kids because they all know they really catch on to the computer stuff quickly. And
so you got him doing some of the engraving and working on the digital design and stuff like that.
Yeah, he's learning a lot of that. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, that'll be real handy as your year starts to roll in, and hopefully we can start. I don't want to talk about it too much, but how was last year kind of impacted for you? I don't want to spend too much time, but how did that work out for you?
It was down about 55% for the whole year. I still kind of remember the day when kind of got that first call of, we don't know if we're going to have this event. And then after that, it just was one thing after another that got canceled, or, they said, we're just not going to have the event. So the one good thing was I had already done a lot of the track meets that the schools had. So even though they didn't have their track meets, they went ahead and paid for the awards that I had done last year. And so I kind of had that cash flow. Now this year, of course, they're using those awards, so I don't necessarily have that this year. So it's kind of been a 2-year cycle for me. But yeah, summer was really slow. I had a few car shows, but nobody really wanted to invest in the awards if they were going to get canceled
and not have the event.
On Friday before the car show. So, some of them, they did a few trophies, but not near what they would normally do if they had sponsors and things. So yeah, it was an interesting year. I guess because we farm also, I was able to kind of weather through that year and didn't have to close up. But so I'm back this year, and hopefully already it's been way different.
I was going to say, everything's probably been much different already than these first 4 months have been way different than last year's 4.
It's busy. So I'm really hoping everybody gets back to their summer festivals and that they're bigger and better than ever. So
I think it's going to be a breakout year for people that want to have festivals and things like that. Yeah. I think people are going to show up in record numbers to just about anything. Well, I mean, look how many people showed out to the Easter egg drop thing.
Yes.
They just had, just south of town.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I was talking with Vicki Northrup about that, and she said, that was phenomenal. Very thankful for everyone that came out. But the amount of people that came out, it was almost too many. Yeah. So that was a great thing to have. So talk to me a little bit about life here in York County. I understand being a farmer and marrying into a farmer family. I mean, sticking around is what you kind of do. And so, but why have you enjoyed, living here in York County and everything like that?
Well, I think we don't always know what other people worry about in other parts of the country, and that's something I think in the last couple of years we've been more aware of. We're a safe community. safety in so many ways, environment-wise and with crime, safe and things like that. We just have a lot of common sense, and people just help each other, and we just seem to, get along with our neighbors so well and things like that. Just a good community to live in. This whole county is.
I didn't really appreciate that, growing up here. You just don't realize it because you haven't really lived anywhere else. So when I moved away, and I got exposed to kind of how really different a lot of communities are. Like, not everybody waves, and not everybody is friendly. And when you live in a big city, people just don't go out of the way to do the things that they do around here. And so I was very kind of fortunate to have that in my life and get to come back here and everything. Very one of a kind, part of the world. Just, and it's not just York. I mean, it's the whole region, but I mean, York County, what I can speak for that. I mean, yeah, everybody around here, whether you're in Henderson or Bradshaw or Benedict or wherever. I mean, yeah, the people have been, nothing but friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you share with others, when you're out, if you meet traveling, or if you have friends and family, or what do you tell others about, living here in York and in York County?
Well, I always kind of joke that I don't want them to know how good it is because I don't want them to move here.
Our little own secret, yeah.
No, one thing, the schools are great. So I'm always impressed at the families that move back that were associated with York College at one time, and after they graduate and they move back here and raise their families. And I think we have good schools and good things for the kids to do. So it's just a great place to raise a family. Can't really beat it for that.
How would you kind of describe, do you have any maybe even in in your business or your personal life, just an example of, how supportive the community has been to maybe you or your business or anything like that? Do you have anything that kind of comes to mind? Any stories?
Well, not really stories so much. I just know throughout the years, community has always been supportive of each other. I had a brother who passed away from cancer, and before that, the community just really turned out for him with some benefits and things like that. And we do that for so many people in our community. The benefits we have to help out people that are having a hard time, we've always done that. Business wise, schools have been really supportive. The area towns that they come to me for their events, and it's always an honor to be able to make awards for people that are being honored, whether they're firemen or healthcare workers, or so many people in our community. And it's just a really nice thing when they come to me and ask me to do those awards for them. I'm always kind of surprised at how many people don't know about my business. They kind of wander in or headed my direction for some reason, and they say, I didn't even know you were here, or how long have you been here? And I say, 20 plus years. And that's that's part my fault. I'm not a big outgoing salesperson. So and I think the Chamber of Commerce does a great job trying to promote the downtown businesses. So
I think your word of mouth references have done pretty good for you if you've made it this far. Yeah.
But like I said, the Chamber, all the things they do to support our businesses have been great. The different things they do to get people downtown and keep the downtown active has really been helpful.
Most certainly, yeah. I mean, the Chamber does a great job. I mean, between their sip and stroll and every other type of event, I mean, they get quite a few people downtown. So yeah, those things are great, very necessary for the community. So we'll jump into our kind of rapid fire questions here to kind of round out the interview. This first one is I just want to keep everything positive here, so we'll talk about the most positive part of the pandemic, and the one that I've kind of been sharing has been family. We just got with it being locked down, we had the opportunity to spend more time with family than we ever got to do before. So a lot of those things that would have other taken our time away from, we got to spend more time with family, and so that was really nice and very good for those that had family close to them. I understand for those being locked away from family could be tough, but it was great to be around the ones that you were directly around and get more time with. What about you?
Kind of similar. As empty nesters, it was really hard at first not to be able to go around. We do a lot of jumping around to the different restaurants and things in the different communities, and that kind of stopped. And so we started soon after people kind of started getting out again. We had a lot of what we called patio parties, or
great, yeah,
fire pit Fridays,
and
that kind of actually was better than going out to restaurants, because you just had more time and you didn't have the distractions of eating and
feeling rushed to get out of there.
Just had some good conversations with friends and that wouldn't have had otherwise. So
no, it's good.
It's been really fun.
Next question: what is your favorite way to spend a day off? If you have a day to yourself to do whatever, how are you spending it?
Probably anything outside if it's nice out. A lot of day trips. We like to take some day trips around.
What's like a favorite place that you head out to?
Well, we like to go to breweries, breweries and distilleries. Probably our favorite brewery is Lazy Horse down in Iowa, so we like to go down there Saturdays or Sundays.
Yeah, they got a lot of good food and a lot of different good selections to choose from. Yeah, I was just down there a couple months ago, and it was the first time I was down there, and I was impressed with how big, and he gave us a tour of the whole back area and everything like that. He's a very interesting guy. Yeah, really cool place. What is a favorite restaurant in York County? Or I guess if you have a couple, I know you just mentioned you ventured around to a few, so if you got a couple, that's fine.
Well,
but what's your favorite restaurant?
Just probably about any of them. Probably Carrie's, and we do like to go over to the Bradshaw Roadhouse, Bulldog Roadhouse.
Mm-hmm.
They have great pizza, so
they do.
Get over there once in a while.
For sure. And then a favorite meal, whether it's a home cooked meal or something that you like it.
Favorite meal is probably any meal that anyone else makes for me. But I do like seafood, anything seafood.
Awesome, yeah. Kind of hard to find great versions of that around here, but I mean, you can still get it. Favorite memory in York County? What's something that kind of sticks out as a memory for you?
I would say probably softball games and football games with my kids when they were playing. Probably the best. Yeah,
those always good. Yeah, traveling around all those things and handing out the juice packets and being responsible for those types of things. Yeah. If you could spend 10 days in any part of the world, where would that be? Anywhere.
Probably short answer would be Germany. But long answer, this one's kind of different. I would like to take a trip back in time.
Oh, yes. Creativity.
Maybe about 1930, and just spend several days in York County and just see how things were, what the farms looked like, where the houses were, what the fields looked like, and spend time in York. What did the businesses look like? What businesses were there? What did the buildings look like? I think about that driving around, and
I think to spend 10 days in 1930 would be incredible. Yeah. Just to kind of learn how everything was. I like the creativity with the answer. That was a good answer. What's a favorite county or local event that you kind of look forward to every year? Whether it's York Fest or Sip and Stroll or the community events, Benedict Days or Bradshaw, what kind of things do you look forward to?
I think mostly with the family was the county fair. We did that. But maybe in town event, I do enjoy the sip and stroll. Get to see so many people and have people come in, and that's.
Have you gotten to participate in that, or have you always been a vendor the whole time?
Yeah.
You have to have your nephews watch the store this year, and then you can bounce around a little bit.
Yeah,
that'd be fun. Awesome. So we're gonna round up the interview here. Just kind of close it out with a few things here. This last segment is just kind of a fun segment, just to talk about kind of the fun things going on in our lives, any positivity or anything like that. I'll start off with. I'm really enjoying the warmer weather that we're starting to get. I know the last couple days weren't the best, but it was almost a 90-degree day at one point this week, and so we're looking to have another one in the next couple days. So I'm enjoying that warmer weather coming around. I'm starting to make things better. What about you?
Okay, well, I think that we're finally coming out of this pandemic. I feel like around here things are pretty much normal. You still hear a lot of areas that aren't normal, so that's another good thing about living here. I think we just come through this a lot more normal than a lot of states and even cities. So a big thing right now.
Yeah, that was great throughout the whole pandemic, just in general. I mean, YCDC did an ad campaign across Midwest states where we were trying to get across that the nation may be closed, but we're trying to still remains a resemblance of normalcy around here in the Midwest. We can still go walk outside and not feel like we're breaking any laws by walking across the street or walking over to your friend's house or something like that. So yeah, that was really great over the last kind of year. But yeah, thank you for your time. I also want to thank our members again. So I want to thank Cornerstone Bank, Central Valley Ag, Meade Lumber, York General Healthcare and Health Services, Union Bank and Trust, and Renewed Horizon. Once again, just a few of our 190 plus members that we have supporting YCDC. So if you're interested about becoming a member, you can check that out at yorkdevco.com. And so I'll leave you with the final thoughts. You can say whatever you want to kind of close out. If there's a quote, words of wisdom, whatever you want to say to kind of leave it, the floor is yours.
Well, I just appreciate you asking me to do this. I've enjoyed your previous interviews with people. If people out there haven't got a chance to listen to those, they're really interesting. I always love to hear stories about why people come to York County, since I've always just been here myself and haven't ventured very far. It's just really interesting to hear why and how people found their way to York County and what they like about it and what they appreciate about it. And a lot of your interviews have touched on those topics. And so I think you guys are doing a great job here, and York's just a really great place to be, and glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for everything. Thank you for your time today, and I'll let you get back to it. Thank you for your time. Have a good one.
Thank
you. This is 17 County. It's brought to you by the York County Development Corporation in Nebraska. For more information about life and opportunity in the Heartland, visit yorkdevco.com. Come grow with us. And if you liked this episode, be sure to rate and review 17 County on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen.